City has really stepped up and helped us out with their sanitary district. Even their band director just came on board. He called up and said he'd be more than happy to go down there and help spruce it up for us. So we've been quite pleased with their efforts to help us.
Yeah, I know, and I've talked to the mayor. We've had this street sweeper go down there and sweep the glass up on the lot and all that. Since you made that suggestion, why don't we try it? To put 2 boxes there for 3 months, 4 months, and see what happens. See if it gets any better. I think we have plenty of money to cover an additional box for a trial run anyway.
We just got to remember that I have to fund basically an 18-month budget. So that's why when I get down to user fee, I have to show you that we're not going to have sufficient funds probably to get me to my first hurdle.
Yeah.
Which would be the June installment of our user fee.
Okay, I get it. That's a recommendation. Does the board have to vote on whether we want to have a second box? Yeah, I have a motion and a second vote on it. Okay. I make the motion that we have a 4-month trial of a second box in Michigan City to see if that alleviates any of the overflow, recycling debris.
What's the board?
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. That motion passes and...
We can just report on that after 4 months how things are going.
Yeah.
And then we decide what along.
And I know President Walensky goes there quite often, so he reaches out to us and lets us know when there's a problem there. So he would be one of our people to actually watch it for us when we find see if it's going through there.
He's retired, right?
On my way to Starbucks in the morning, I'll stop by the recycling box. It's okay.
Give me a call, we'll take care of it.
Give me a call. Oh, all right. Moving on. Comments from the public?
Do we need a motion to approve the financial?
Did they take the vote?
Oh, I don't think you put the vote on financial.
No, we didn't.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve the financial reports through August 31st. Is there a second? Okay, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Financial reports are approved, and now we have comments from the public. Anyone from the public wish to speak on any recycling or environmental issues in the county? Anybody from the public wish to speak on any issues? Anybody from the public? Public comment is closed. Special award going to Nora Schultz.
Okay, so...
We're going to turn it over to Jack.
Oh,
I am Nora, and I always have something to say.
okay, I'm sorry. Did you have under public comment?
Under public comments, like suggestions.
Sure.
Do we reach out to businesses and ask them to keep an eye on their areas? I think you got on Meyer area, and I think you did the little strip mall across on 20 and got on them. Now, every little strip mall could be held accountable for their areas. I was having dinner recently with my family out by where Kmart used to be, and where Godfather's Pizza and all that used to be, and their area back there, well, that's on my radar right now, was the area I'm going to go and address because it's horrific, absolutely horrific. It doesn't have, a lot of these areas don't have to be eyesores like that. They just don't, which is, I have found my little hobby out in the streets. So, but, I'm just wondering if anybody has reached out, or could you, do you want to? I don't know.
I can speak to Michigan City that we sent our refuse department out, the refuse inspector, to talk with various businesses and some of the big box stores and behind the stores, alongside residents or restaurants also. So that does happen. We've even had to send city attorney send letters to the businesses to try to get them, and we've had some cooperation, and then some we've had to further pursue, so.
Okay, so yeah, I know you've been real helpful in addressing that, and you know, there's obviously gonna be areas that are gonna sweep through the
It's
cracks.
uncalled for, they should take care of their facilities and their grounds, yeah.
True. But if they don't, there I am, so. All right, thank you, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Nora. And the special award.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that. So, we are giving a special award today, I have to grab it though, to Nora Schultz. So I've actually known Nora for a couple years, well, since I started here, but I never actually met her till today. But I've talked to her on the phone multiple times because she's always out and about cleaning up Michigan City and all the areas around there just on her own free will. So we do a litter cleanup in the spring, and you know, I really have to like get out there and encourage people to want to sign up and clean up the litter around us. And Nora just kind of does it on her own, like free will. And she just kind of wanders all around and gets it all cleaned up. And it's pretty amazing stuff. And, you know, she doesn't do it for the recognition. She just does it because she likes to see things, you know, see places look nicer. And there's lots of people that compliment her. And, you know, hopefully it keeps somebody from tossing something out of their car, or, you know, from dropping a wrapper on the street that they see somebody's out there having to pick up after them. So we are actually going to present her with a lovely certificate. Do you want to come up here? Sure. All right, so this is in recognition of all your hard work and dedication on cleaning up LaPorte County, and we are also going to present you with one of our lovely framed Country Fair South Shoreline posters that's framed. Yeah. So this is yours as well. And in case any of you want to know, she was also LaPorte County Life in the Spotlight, and if anybody would like a link to that, I can email it to you when you're here.
Yeah, please do.
It's very interesting. But thank you, Nora.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing that for us.
It's my pleasure, it truly is my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Turner, the director's report.
First item is our compost site report. Let you know that the building is complete. We still got a little housekeeping to do, grass to be mowed, garages and stuff, all of that. But we're getting ready for an open house, probably gonna target next month, to make sure everything is looking good. We won't want to embarrass any of our directors when they come down to see our building. I'll make sure you get an invitation to that. Anytime in between you want to stop in, you're more than welcome to. We've tried out some extended hours because shortly we will be closing off our back entrance, which the public has gotten used to just going in there 24 hours a day to dump green waste and whatever else they want to dump back there. We're right in the process now that our fencing's done to close off that back section, so they have to come through our front gate each time they want to bring us something. We're working Monday through Friday, 6 to 6. And on Saturday, we're working 6 to 4:30. Give the public ample opportunity to get in and see us. No hours on Sunday. And hopefully they won't be depositing anything on fairground property. We'll try to keep a close eye on that, but we'll be there every day to clean up whatever's left there. So if any of your constituents ask you, we are open. We're selling compost, we're selling mulch, we're selling firewood. We're taking any green waste that any residents might have for free. Any businesses that want to use our facility, there's a ticket fee, so we do help the businesses out also.
What did you say the hours were again? 6 to 6, Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
And Saturday?
8 to 4:30, or 6 to 4:30. And it's going to be a tough test at first because the public's used to just going in there anytime they want and leaving stuff, whatever they want, but we've got to get some type of a handle on it and go back to our initial action of being a government office that has certain set hours that you have to abide by the rules.
Clay, could I ask that you come to a commission meeting or a council meeting to share that information? Because since it's an adjustment, the more a good positive PR we get about it, the better to make sure people know. Because the compost facility is an important feature for most people. And just to make sure that they understand that there's a change and what the process is, I think that would be time well spent.
I'll reach out to Diane and get on your agenda. Thank you.
Or you can anytime on the department head, you're really welcome.
Might see me more than you want then.
Clay, what are you charging the businesses as far as the tipping fee?
$4 a cubic yard this time. I'm sorry, I guess they adjusted it on me, $5 a cubic yard.
Okay, and have you let local businesses know, because at one point businesses were not to use that? So have you let businesses know that they can use that?
And I'm not sure where that ever came from. Businesses was always welcome to use our site, and we always had a tipping fee.
Okay.
They just never would want to go out to Westville. They'd just come here on Ziegler Road and dump it because nobody was there to charge them or take anything from them. We do the normal advertising. You know, we have a web page. We advertise on our web page. We have a Facebook page. We put it on our Facebook page. We have our form. We have it on our signs on the site. We don't take any paid ads. We try to keep our costs down in that area as much as possible.
Well, I just know the Ziegler Road businesses weren't supposed to use Ziegler Road, and now they can, so that's...
I mean, we're always encouraging them to come out to Westville so we can charge them a fee.
Right.
Now, Westville's closed. Hopefully they'll use this on a full-time basis, and our fee's fairly reasonable at $5 a cubic yard. Any other questions?
Okay, I think we covered the Michigan City recycling dumpster pretty well. Anything about the water tower collection there under your report?
Just to give you a quick update, we have a sheet in the packet. In 2019, when we started this, in 18 we did a collection down there because they've been asking for some help. In 2018, it was our first time in several years that we were down there. We collected 3,516 pounds and we addressed 64 households. It's a pretty low number for us to have a collection down there, but we wanted to give it a fair try, so we tried it again this year. We doubled our pounds. We collected 11,214 total pounds. We increased the households to 75. That's still not great. We need to get more participation in that to make sure that it's worth having a collection down there. Before we set our 2020 calendar, we'll probably reach out to some of the folks on the Citizens Advisory Board. We know they have some connections down south and see what their thoughts are. Maybe that we're doing something wrong. I mean, we're using our AMC property down there, which is a pretty visible area. They do a great job of advertising it for us, so we're not sure what would be our next step to increase participation. And maybe it's just, it's not known, but I mean, you can come from LaPorte down to Wanata if you need to get rid of something on that day. You can come from Michigan City down to Wanata on that day. It's open to all of LaPorte County, but we just need to get a better participation than 75 households. But I mean, it's still in the trial period, so hopefully it's growing. I'm just not sure how much longer the board wants me to keep offering this service if they're not being financially responsible.
Well, how much does that cost you now?
I believe we just got the bill in for that. It should be on our claim docket. It's around $6,700 for that collection. So you divide the $6,700 around 75 households, and I'm not very good at doing the math in my head, but that's exactly what it is here.
$6,571.92.
That's what we paid for that collection in Wanata.
Well, almost $85, $90.
Looks like $89 a household.
It does fall during the weekend of Hannah Fest every year though, so far. So that might be where a lot of the people are going to the festival. They have like a baby breakfast, I think, the same day that we're there. But I attended last year. I went and hung out there for the day, and all the people that did bring items brought a lot of items though. So the people that did participate did bring a lot of stuff that they've been holding on to for years. So, and they're really, really thankful. So maybe if we just tried a different weekend or something, then it might be different.
There you go. Good idea.
We should have our schedule set probably by our January meeting. We'll bring back some additional information to you in January.
Okay, but I think it's a good suggestion to talk to the advisory board and see what ideas they have. Okay. Anything else under director's report that you want to talk about, Mr. Turner?
Not under director's report, but if you jump down to new business, we're not going to have item B on our agenda, so that'll be scratched off.
Okay. Old business? Budget discussion?
Just to let everybody know, I did go, following our budget calendar, I did go before the county council at their budget public hearing on August 26th. There, no public addressed our budget. The council still hasn't determined what the 100s are going to be, so we're still waiting to see what our raises might be for 2020. I'll be going back on September 23rd for the adoption hearing. Mostly at that time, we'll be able to come back to you with our salary ordinance in the December meeting and let you know what the raises are going to be for 2020. The second sheet I have with that was our budget presentation. I'm going to do the state budget form 4B. And if you look at the center section, the bottom line, item number 10 on there, it says net amount to be raised for expenses through December. We need to raise at least 1.4 million to complement what we have left over. Every year seems like this year when we got our May distribution, we were $20,000 less than what we got last year. And last year was $20,000 less than the year before. So we're going to reach out to the auditor and find out exactly what's going on. We're capturing more households and we're capturing more apartments and more businesses, but it seems like our income is decreasing. So we're going to try to figure out why that is. So I believe, what was our May distribution?
It's on the financial spreadsheet.
The one I told everybody to hang on to so we reference it back.
Yeah, should be. May distribution was $1,421,340.95. That you'll see on the year-to-date user fee in green.
So that 400,000 now is 380. Because I need 1.4. I'm going to increase 1.4. So I will probably, and I know it was in our minutes to have a more in-depth discussion today, but I thought I needed to wait till after the September county council meeting, see what the 100s are going to be, and then have some better numbers to present to you in December, talk about whether or not we need a user fee now.
When you say 100s, what does that mean?
It's the salaries. Salaries and insurance and benefits that we pay the employees.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure you're aware, because it was directed by Dr. Core that I come back and do an analysis on what we think we might need. And just not to that point yet. I think we need to wait one more county council meeting to get those numbers.
So for the December meeting, you'll have a better idea about what the expenses will be, what our revenues will be, and then based on that, you will make some suggestions about if we need to adjust the user.
Right, and I should have how much we actually have left in our budget by December. We'll have, 11 months spent, so we'll see how much we've got to roll over. And like I said, just rough numbers, we'll lower it down to 1.380, and then if we get a 2% raise or something, then you'd have to deduct that out of that 400,000. So it starts disappearing pretty quick before you know it. But we're still not looking at any more than maybe a $1 or $2 increase for the year.
I would just say that this is a chance for us to really look at professional services. So I personally would like to see a drill down of the month by month on professional services. Before we add rates, it's $1 a year or $2, but still, that's, for some people, that's significant. So we need to see where we can save money in-house before we pass.
Absolutely. I just think you're going to be surprised and disappointed when you find, our hauling contracts are pretty expensive, and it's a big contract, so we have to go with what it is, and it's basically a 4% increase every year. We have a 5-year contract under our second year at this time, so we cut those numbers pretty tight already for the professional services. We know what we're paying because it's a contracted price, other than the will call pulls on our dumpsters. We don't know what that number is. Sometimes the department houses have more or less in a year, but our basic hauling contract is pretty much set there. But I will make sure you have all those numbers so you can make
Okay, so around Republic being our hauler, a 5-year contract is a long period for a contract. So who are the other competitors for that contract usually?
In our market, there's really not very many competitors. Our last bid, we only had 2, Republic and Waste Management. And Waste Management's slowly getting out of the recycling business because the market took such a hit. Actually, our first year of the contract was a 32% increase. Basically, your hands are tied. You've got nowhere else to go. Hopefully the market will pick back up. The Asian area will decide that they need our product again. We can start shipping it overseas and it'll get the market back up.
Thank you.
And actually that covered both the budget discussion and the user fee. Mr. Chairman.
All right, new business?
I'm going to have a small presentation for you folks today from Mr. Ray Bach and Mr. Workman. It's in your packet, all the comprehensive plan for converting wood chips into biochar. I'll let Mr. Bach do the introduction, so I won't mess anything up.
Great, thank you. Again, my name is Ray Bach. I have business cards with me should any of you desire to have one. About 3 weeks ago, we met with Clay here to talk about an initiative we'd like to undertake in LaPorte County. An initiative, quite simply, is to develop a state-of-the-art recycling facility with a specific focus on wood. We will take wood and we will convert it to biochar and to ASTM compliant diesel fuel. Currently, I'm not sure all of what your wood is going to, where it's going to right now. I rather suspect it's probably filling up our landfills and probably being chopped up and shredded and put on gardens and lawns and all that type of thing. We believe that recycling is a much better answer for this specific material, because we can now take that and turn that into biochar. I have given you, and you have a copy of this, it will explain biochar for those of you that don't know what it is. But biochar and diesel fuel. And we are looking at developing a facility, again, state-of-the-art, here in LaPorte County, to process 200 tons a day, which will be our initial mark, of wood chips. And these are actual wood chips that we're talking about. These actually came from our facility. And from that, produce 50 tons per day of biochar and 10,000 gallons a day of ASTM diesel fuel, which is drop-in ready, low sulfur. And if you think about what you're currently doing with wood, to sit there and imagine that now you can take that product that you're spreading out the lawn, or goodness gracious, filling up our landfills, and you can now produce a usable product in biochar and obviously a usable product in diesel fuel. Clay asked if we would like to speak to the group, and I did, because we have something in mind for the group. In order for us to proceed, we are looking to get the support of this body. And before all of you freak out, I'm not talking about financial support. The expensive facility that we're talking about will all be funded with private capital. What we're looking for is the support of this group to say this is something that's good for the community, this is something that is good for recycling. This will put LaPorte County, I think, at the forefront of being able to recycle materials. In addition, this facility will provide 60 full-time, high-paying jobs in this area. And that doesn't count for the number of people that will be building the facility to begin with. So we think it is a win-win situation. We are seeking your support. Again, verbal support, and I talk about that because when you go through the permitting process, when you go to the state, the first thing they're going to ask about is whether or not you have the support of the community and that is something they want to do. And we're here asking you for that level of support as being something you want to do and something you should do. It is a significant investment. All will be done with private capital. Again, we're not here seeking the support of financing from the county at all. Instead, what we will be producing is 60 full-time, high-paying jobs for the county. And we think that is a wonderful reward for the kind of support that we need to advance this particular project. We believe that we can be operational in 12 to 18 months, fully operational, and that, of course, is always pending how quickly the permitting process goes through, and that permitting process can be accelerated with the support of this group, with this organization. The expenditure is not insignificant. We're talking in the area of $50 million to be able to develop a facility here in LaPorte County. A brand new facility, and again, we will produce 60 full-time, high-paying jobs. We will service this area. Currently, we have already enough feedstock to supply all of the material for this process. But there's an awful lot of feedstock in this neighborhood. I don't have to tell you about the number of RV plants and whatnot and so forth, and one of their primary disposable products is wood. Currently, I don't know what's happening with all that wood. I rather suspect a lot of it is going and filling up landfills and so forth. But as we begin to approach them, we will be able to give them a new outlet for that will generate very, very usable byproducts for our society. And biochar is something that farmers love, need. The demand is growing. And I will tell you that there are very few vehicles that operate that don't need fuel. And we will generate 10,000 gallons a day of fuel with our initial 200 ton per day plant. Again, I have given you kind of a document that gives you the background. If you have any further questions, I would certainly be glad to address them now. Doctor.
First of all, thank you for coming here and giving this presentation. Does your company have anything like this in other parts of the country?
We have a plant in Europe. I represent a team that represents several active technologies, and we've gone through and selected technologies. The one we are proposing for this has gone through 20,000 hours of specific testing by 3 independent international organizations that all gave it very, very high marks. And secondly, as a result of that review, there is an international insurance carrier that will provide insurance for a facility that guarantees its performance. That is a rare circumstance. Having been in the waste industry for many, many, many years, I will tell you, that is a rare circumstance. And lastly, we certainly aren't going to invest $50 million into something that we are not comfortable it's not 100% work.
Are there any downsides to this having any, I know we are doing recycling and all, but are there any byproducts of this that will be hazardous to the environment?
No. And I will tell you this, the air emissions from this will meet any air emission standard there is, because basically what you're doing is you're cooking the wood, let's put it that way. All right, you're capturing the gas that comes off of that, and you are converting that then into the diesel fuel. That's quite a simple way to describe it. But that, in fact, is what happens. The emissions from that are extremely low, and I will guarantee to you that they will meet any air emission standards currently out there.
And last question, have you met Mr. Rodriguez, Tony Rodriguez?
Yes, well, I have not, but I know David started to talk.
Correct.
We've already started the process of beginning to look for locations for the facility. Whether we take that next step is in some fashion dependent upon whether we can engender the support from this organization that it's going to be necessary to move forward to get one, the permitting completed, and number two, get people we're working with currently that want to put up $50 million. They don't want to put $50 million to bring a facility to a neighborhood they don't like.
I have some questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you've given us thank you for coming today. You've given us three sheets of paper, and on this sheet of paper there are no data points. There's no facts. There's no performance measures. There's no. We don't have your name and your Dun & Bradstreet report.
No, I understand. That's why I said I brought cards.
Okay, but
the purpose of this.
Let me just finish this.
Right.
So I have a lot of questions, and you're coming to us to ask for our approval of something that we know nothing about.
Sure.
So, for example, will scrubbers be used at your facility? Which agencies permit you to operate? What is your daily traffic? What locations are you looking at? What's your emission standards? What's your daily waste flow? Where does the material come from? Is it coming from all over the Midwest, all over the country? That's a lot of truck traffic on our roads, so and that's pollution, and it impacts our quality of life. I would like to know the history of the people that are supporting your project, the name of your company. That's not on here as well. So before I
will be a new code.
Okay, but before I could approve or say that it's a great idea, there's a million things that I would want to know. And I'm sure
I'll tell you what I will do. Provided it's not literally a million. If you will provide me with those questions, then I'll give you my card when I'm done here. I will certainly respond to those. I put together this document because it's intended to be a summary document. This is what we want to do. This is how we want to move forward. Your questions are all valid, they make sense, and if you want to put them down in writing to me, I will certainly respond to them.
So I guess rather than me present you with my questions or the questions from the board, it would seem to me as a matter of course before the citizens board and before the elected officials could approve or support something that will then go to the state or the feds, whoever your permitting agencies are. We would need to know much more.
Oh, no, I clearly understand that.
Okay.
I did not expect a vote from this group based upon this and this presentation. Right. Don't mistake what my intention was.
Okay.
Right. My intention was to introduce what we want to do and talk about, in order for us to be as successful as we want to be, we'll need to engender support of this organization. I've done permitting all over the country for a lot of years, and I will tell you what the community looks for and what the community says is a good thing for the community goes a long way in being able to expedite the permitting process. And that is the kind of support that we're trying to engender. Again, this was intended to be solely an introductory document to tell you what it is that we want to do and so forth. But if you have other questions, which I would hope you would have, would be delighted to answer them. Yes, sir.
Talking about the farmers like this product, how does it apply to fields, and does that replace something that they are now?
No, it's applied to the field through the normal course of business. How they would spread material over the field, and you can see the benefits in there that are listed in there for the biochar.
Right. But is it replacing something that they do?
It's a supplement.
Okay.
This is intended to supplement.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
So what is the permitting process? What permits would you be going to for the Indiana Environmental Management? You say you've got a lot of experience, but yet, as I understood it, there's really not an example of a plant like this we could look at locally or in the United States.
There's a whole list of different permits you have to go through.
Can you name a couple of, is there a waste product from this that goes into is there a water product that goes into the storm or sanitary lines? Or?
Actually not. Let me see if I brought that with. I did not, I apologize.
So we'll put that on the question list.
Sure, absolutely.
But there is no process in the United States right now doing this that you have that we could look at?
We can go to Europe.
We're in Europe.
Poland.
Okay.
Can you give us a name, a website, anything for that?
One of our team members here is D4 Energy. If you want to Google that, you'll get some additional information.
And you talked about 60 fully paid, high-paying jobs. And when we talk, what is the wage range for these 60 high-paying jobs?
Well, it won't divide exactly equally, but you're talking about a payroll of about $3 million a year.
Okay, so the average hourly wage for somebody working in
What's that to calculate?
manufacturing process, 15, 16.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate you coming here, and I don't speak for the whole board, but I'm speaking for myself. I appreciate you coming here, and with this project, and it may be a viable project sometime down the line, but I know that and I'm sure the other board members feel the same way, that there's got to be a lot of homework done here, and I believe the commissioners, you need to give a presentation to the commissioners, you need to give a presentation to the county council, get all those people on board. I don't necessarily feel comfortable sitting here making a decision for the whole county on
And that's really what I'm asking.
on a project like this, a $50 million project that's going to involve, I don't know how much land, as Commissioner Mates was saying, that you have traffic. Where's it going to be? Is it going to affect schools? Is it going to affect neighborhoods?
Right.
And all that. I mean, to me, there's just 1,000 questions that need
Well,
to be
200
answered.
tons a day would be roughly 10 to 15 trucks all day.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable you going to the council, going to the commissioners, going to the planning department, and then when everything gets put into place, then you can come back and say all these other entities are fully behind it, and the county's fully behind it, and now we need your endorsement so we can go get our permitting and get the project rolling.
Understand this.
Sure that he's actually asking for this particular board's endorsement. What he's looking for is that he's got all the representation here. He's got Michigan City, he's got LaPorte, he's got LaPorte County. So if they choose a location, say in LaPorte County, then he would have to meet with the commissioners and the council. It would exclude you folks because you have no...
Because we all be sources of this material, throughout the county, the cities, the towns, everyone.
So making all those presentations before they actually locate their site, he's just kind of give us an informational thing. I told Mr. Locke up front, I said, there's no money. So if you're coming for money, don't...
No, absolutely not. That was, you didn't have to mention it.
The second thing was, I mentioned to him that I want a board on item, and that's one of the things that we ask for is local community support. So you've got to figure out where you want it at and then work that, whether it be Michigan City, if they're going to put it in Michigan City, and you got to work these two folks, let them take it to their boards and present it. We invited Mr. Rodriguez here. He'll ultimately, if it goes to the county, will be doing the legwork for all of us. So we want him to be aware of what's going on.
This is the first time I'm hearing the presentation as well, so, yeah. It's a pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure. Do you have a copy, by the way?
I do, yes.
Oh, okay, all right.
I read through it, yes.
So there will be a test later.
Really just informational. There is an operation similar to this, I believe, in the Carolinas. And they're also trying to branch out to Indiana. They're looking at Bloomington, Indiana. So they've come to the item board for a grant, and our board has said, where's this being done at? What's all the ramifications of it? So there's a lot of questions out there that have not been answered.
So what I heard, Mr. Turner, was this gentleman asking for our endorsement. He said it numerous times. And so what I hear from my colleagues is that we're saying, we, whether it's in Michigan City, whether it's in Cool Spring Township, whether it's in unincorporated county property or in LaPorte City, it would impact all of us. It's dealing with recycling, that is within the domain of this board. But when you talk about waste, I have a little bit of experience, as does Mayor Muir, and a couple of the rest of you also. There's a lot of questions that would have to be asked because it affects our county's quality of life. And if we're accepting waste from all over the country or all over the Midwest or all over the Chicagoland area, that affects our quality of life. And I wasn't underestimating, I wouldn't say maybe 1 million questions, but I would imagine my colleagues would have many questions as well, regardless of what agency actually makes the call on whether it's cited or not cited. So, I just wanted to be really
And
understand crystal clear.
myself, I'm not endorsing.
Yes.
I'm just bringing to my board information.
And we did not, as I said, and I hope I was clear, I did not come here with the expectation that I'm walking out of here with an endorsement. This is an introduction. An introduction to something that we want to do that we think is a tremendous benefit for LaPorte County. All right. We're working in Michigan as well. But LaPorte County is, from a logistics standpoint, from our standpoint, very good. And in terms, when you talk about waste, this is, and again, having come out of the waste industry for a lot of years, every time you talk about waste and garbage, people go crazy. In some measure, for good reason. This is not waste as people generally think of it. This is a single source, single kind of material, which is wood. And if it doesn't come to a facility like this, what happens to it? Fills up your landfill, or they take it and they chop it up and they sell it as mulch. This is not waste, it's not hazardous, it's not MSW garbage that has all kinds of cats and dogs in it. When you process it, you have an issue there with regard to what are some of the byproducts of that, and that's a very difficult thing to answer. When you're talking about a single material, such as wood, those questions are relatively easy both to answer and to control. But I appreciate your questions, they're good questions.
Even transporting wood from one town to another, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Transporting wood from one town to another?
Like if you were going camping or anything like that, you're not supposed to bring any kind of different lumber in or burning or anything like that.
No, we're not burning.
Well, you know what I'm saying, it's just transporting it though.
Yeah. Right now, they're transporting wood all over this country.
Right.
And I can understand, it's interesting. If you're saying that they don't want you to transport wood, I'll tell you what, there's more hazardous waste being transported across county and state lines than you can count.
I agree with that.
Now, this is not hazardous waste. This is wood. It's pure and simple wood.
If I may, I'm wondering, what type of timeline are you looking for support in? If this board meets quarterly, what's your timeline?
Well, I'm not sure I can find a timeline. What we wanted to do is start the process, because we're doing some other things as we move forward. As we said, we're going to look at potential properties. All right. We're going to have to build a 175,000 square foot building to house everything. And we're working with private investors on moving the project forward. The one thing, as I said, and the reason I'm here, the one thing that is important to them is they're saying, hey, that's great, we love it, love the technology, love what you're doing and so forth, but are you taking it to a community that hates your guts? Like I said, I've been in the waste industry for 40 years. And I have seen what happens when you begin to develop a facility that has all kinds of wonderful attributes into an area where people say we don't want it. NIMBY. All remember NIMBY from way back when? Not in my backyard. And that has a debilitating impact on moving forward to try to get facilities permitted. And the way to begin that process, a better way, is to go to the people that are affected and the leadership of those people that are affected to tell them what you want to do and to gain their support. That's my sole reason for being here.
I want to thank you for being here, and I would like one of your business cards, please.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mr. Bach, I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
And you just commented saying that you're working in Michigan, or is that your company working in Michigan? You're doing some kind of work in Michigan?
No, we are talking with some people in Michigan on the same kind of a project.
All right.
Same kind of a project.
All right. All right, well, I want to thank you for coming and your presentation, and we'll move forward from here. Is there any other questions anybody may have for Mr. Bach? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Are there any other comments from board members? Okay, having none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned.